Good morning, babe, and happy Tuesday. Before we get started with this morning's video, make sure you stick around through the entire video if you love and support me as much as you say you do. The longer you watch, the more I make, and the more I can pay my bills, like my rent and my phone bill and internet bill, so I can continue to make videos for you. Okay? Perfect. And like always, at the end, we will be doing our 360 spin. There's more incentive to watch to the end. Okay, so this morning I want to talk to you guys about attracting the woman of your dreams. Maybe your type is tall, dark, and chocolate, like myself. And for those of you guys who don't know, I am 6'3". But anyways, so maybe you've found the woman that you are so physically attracted to and you landed a date, she agreed, and now you're about to go on this date. I'm going to give you guys some of the top questions that you should ask this woman before you commit to anything more seriously. Because the last thing you want to do is date somebody and y'all not on the same level. Y'all don't have the same goals. And guys, you guys are people who don't like to, I feel like men don't like to pry in a sense. You guys just go with the flow. And that's good and all, that's in your nature, but you do want to make sure you're asking the right questions so you can make sure that she is truly the woman of your dreams. You have to go deeper than the physical. She may look good, she may be super hot and sexy, but what's going on in her mind? Is her mindset right? Is she smart? Is she intelligent? Does she have a good head on her shoulders? No pun intended. So let's go ahead and get into it. So you guys are on your date, whether it's dinner, maybe you guys went and did bowling or something like that. That's why I tell you guys, make sure you choose dates where you get to talk to them. Don't just do dates like the movies where you don't get to interact and see where their head is at. Like, whatever first date you guys have, make sure you guys can talk. That's priority over anything else. It's more important than a fancy dinner. You have to be able to talk to this woman to see if you're going to like her. That's the only way you're going to know. Okay, so you guys are talking. The very first, well, I'm not going to list them like in the order in which you ask, but these are the questions that you should be asking on the first date. Number one, you need to know, does she have kids? Do you want to be stepdaddy or not? And how many kids does she have? And also, what is the relationship dynamic between her and her baby daddy or daddies? Is it positive? Do they co-parent well? Is it drama? Remember, if the daddy is not in their life, just know that she's probably looking for a man who can step up and be that father role. So if you're not willing to do that, babe, you need to back up, pull the brakes, because that's just not what you want to do. And I'm not saying one is right or the other. It is your life, it is your choice. But I'm just saying you have to ask these questions. So let's say the father is in the children's life. That's great. Do they still have a romantic relationship going on? Why'd they break up in the first place? These are questions that you need to ask, because ultimately you're going on a date to marry at some point in time, right? Whether that's 2 years from now, 5 years from now, at some point you plan on marrying, or you would like to marry this woman. We're dating with intention. Alpha men are dating for the intention of getting married. So with that being said, this is not a one night stand type of deal. Alpha men don't do that. Alpha men know their value. Like yourself, y'all know your value, and you don't want to be just giving your energy to any and everybody. On top of that, there's STDs. So we're not doing that. You want to eventually get married. So with that being said, you have to make sure you're asking these questions. Are you willing to be a stepfather? And if so, how many children are you willing to be a stepfather for? Okay. So question number 2, you need to ask her, does she want kids? That is a very important question. You don't want to get into a relationship with a woman who may not want any kids, or maybe she already had kids, so she's not interested in any more kids. Maybe you don't have any kids. Do you want kids, babe? If the answer is yes, even though she may look good, booty might be fat, yada yada, if she doesn't want any more kids and you do, you're not going to be able to change her mind. So there's no sense in you trying. Just respect that she doesn't want any more kids, and you're going to have to go and find a woman who does want kids. And y'all agree to how many kids you guys want. So that's question number 6. So question number 1 is, if she has kids, what's the relationship like with the children's father? And then question number 2 is, does she want kids? Question number 3. This one is trending on social a lot. What is her thoughts on the dynamic of a relationship? Should it be 50-50? Should the man pay for everything? Me personally, babe, this is what I believe. I believe that a woman should not expect a man to do anything more than what she can do for herself. So if she cannot pay her own bills, it is foolish of her to think that a man should have to come in and pay her bills. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm pretty sure if you're watching to this point, you agree with my mindset and what I'm saying. It should be 50-50. You call, she calls. She calls, you call. You take her out, she takes you out. She takes you out, you take her out. Y'all should be meeting each other in the middle. If she cannot afford her bills, she should not be dating. She should be focused on being able to afford her bills. You are not her daddy. You could be daddy in the bedroom, but you're not daddy like in real life, like just in the bedroom, just as like kink talk, not in real life. So therefore, she should not have those expectations of you. And if she does, you have to decide, is this the type of woman that you want to be with? Do you want to be with a woman who's needy, who can't do shit for herself? You have to answer that. I can't answer that for you. That's something you have to decide, because remember, you're dating to marry. So just know that who she is now is who she's always going to be. It's never going to change. You're just going to get tired of it. Okay? So at the end of the day, if let's say 10 years go by and she's still begging, at that point you can't be mad at anybody but yourself, because you knew she was a beggar when you got with her. But you ignored all of that because you thought she looked good. And maybe she could do some things for a piece of change. So therefore, you can only be mad at yourself. So that's why it's important to ask these questions now. The next question you need to ask her is, where does she see herself in 5 years? Does she have any goals and aspirations, any dreams? Does she want to start a business? Does she want to go back to school? Does she want to buy a house? Babe, if she has no vision, what are you doing? What are you doing? We are about attracting the woman of our dreams. Well, not me, you. I'm attracting, you're attracting. Okay, you are attracting the woman of your dreams. So if she has no goals, you see where I'm going with this, babe? So you need to ask this. This is important. She got to want to do something besides just spend your money all day, right? The next question you need to ask is, can she cook? I believe that men and women, I don't think it should be one person's responsibility to do all of the cooking. I think that it should be equal. So therefore, if y'all both work, it's not fair that she has to come home and also cook, clean, and take care of the children, and you just get to sit on the couch. That's not how that works. It should be equal. So maybe she can cook, but you can clean. Maybe she can go grocery shopping. Maybe you are a better cook than she is. That's fine. But you got to know what her skills are besides just in the bedroom. You got to know what her skills are. Now, if she's not going to work and you're going to work, then yes, then she would be responsible for the cooking and the cleaning. But if both people have to work for 8 hours a day, why does her job never stop, but yours does? Because she's a woman and you're a man? That doesn't make sense. That's why I'm saying it's always should be 50-50. You provide, she provides, she provides, you provide. So You got to ask these things. And then on top of that, where does she spend her money? Does she spend her money on her looks and nothing else? Like her hair, her lashes, her nails? Babe, these are very important questions that you need to be asking, because this is going to let you know what type of woman she is and where her head space is at. You can learn so much about someone by listening. People tell on themselves all the time. You just have to be listening. So, in order to listen, you have to ask so you can see what nonsense she says. Okay? And she might be a very intelligent woman, and that's great. You have found the woman of your dreams. But there's a lot of women out here who are lost. So, you have to figure out what's her mindset. And if she's always spending a whole bunch of money on her looks, just know that's not going to stop. So, I used to buy wigs and all that stuff years ago. That stuff is really expensive. A wig was $400, the install was $200. I used to get my lashes done, that was $200. I used to get the really, really, really long nails, that was about $200. It's expensive to keep all of that up. I'm just going to throw that out there. It is very expensive to keep all of that up. So just know that, like I said earlier, people don't really change. So don't be mad if she's spending all this now and then she's still spending it 3 years from now, but with your money. I'm just saying. Okay, so the next question you need to ask is, why is she single? And just listen to what she says. This is how you can learn a lot about somebody. You can learn a lot about someone just based off of the answer. If everything you're hearing is them, that means she has no accountability. And that means she's not going to have any accountability in y'all's relationship. She's going to always blame you for everything. If she can be woman enough to say, okay, the last person I was with did this, but I also did this, then that lets you know that she can be held accountable and she's not going to be playing the blame game. If her response is, I don't know, let's say, like for instance, if her response is something like, well, he did this to me and he did that and he did that, there's a couple of things going on there. One, if it was a very toxic relationship and she didn't even give herself time in between that relationship and going on a date with you, that lets you know, one, she has no self-respect for herself, and two, she doesn't know how to be by herself. Because a lot of times women and men jump from relationship to relationship to relationship. You don't want somebody who's jumping from one relationship to the next to the next to the next. That means they have not healed. So anything that she went through in that relationship, just know you about to put up with it too, because she didn't take no time to heal herself. Do you want those problems? Do you want that headache? If the answer is no, tread lightly, slice and dice. If she was in a long-term relationship and it didn't work, and that was like a month ago, why are you talking to her? She has not done any self-work. She hasn't healed. She's just going to bring all that chaos from that relationship to you. And then you're going to be putting up with all the stuff that her ex did to her. And you ain't had nothing to do with it. You don't want that. That's what I'm saying. People will tell on themselves. You just have to be smart enough to listen. Because let me tell you something, babe. People love to talk about themselves. That's one thing I learned. People love to talk about themselves. And that's perfect. They're going to do all of the work for you. They are going to tell you everything you need to know. Just sit there and listen. Don't judge. Just listen. Take mental notes. And when you get home, you can think long and hard, and then you can decide if you want to deal with her or not. Okay? But just keep all that in mind. You want to be dating women who know how to be by themselves, who don't need a man to feel complete. You don't want a woman who's calling and blowing up your phone all day, every day, trying to figure out where you at, what you doing, or who you with. That's not what you want. That's a headache. Only men who want that are not alpha men. They're not alphas. You're an alpha male. You are a leader and a provider. You are the omega. You don't want a woman who can't do shit for herself. That's not what you want. You want a woman that can stand on her own, and you can stand on your own, and then together y'all stand. But if she can't stand on her own, but you can stand on yours, you're going to be doing all of the work. And it's going to be a lot of drama. You don't want that. You don't want that. Next, you need to know what are her finances like. And I'm not sitting here saying you got to literally like pick apart and figure out like, her specifics. But you need to know what kind of woman you're dealing with. Just ask her what kind of job does she have. You can kind of base her income somewhere. You can get a range based off of that. You can figure out what side of town does she live on. You can figure out what kind of car she drives. These are things not because it doesn't the type of car she drives is irrelevant, but it'll tell you how much she spends. That's important. That is very important. So if she got a lot of bills, but her income ain't matching that, just know 9 times out of 10 she's gonna ask you for some money. Is that the type of relationship that you want? You are the only person that can decide that. I can't tell you that. Only you can decide. But I'm telling you, you can calculate in your head. And if she does this, let's say she is secretary, but based off of all the things she says she has, it equals more than secretary income, then now you know she's going to be asking you for some money at some point in time. Are you ready? Are you ready? You need to determine, babe, do you want a woman that is independent or codependent? There are pros and cons to both. I feel like the pros outweigh the cons when it comes to women who are independent and can hold their own. I think sometimes, and this is what I'm saying when I call you alpha, because alpha men don't conduct themselves like this. There's a lot of beta males out there. There might be some beta males watching this video. I believe that a man who wants a woman who's codependent, meaning she can't do nothing for herself and she's very needy, men who like those type of women are very insecure. And they feel like they need to be needed in order to keep her around. That's very insecure, that's very beta. An alpha male is not intimidated by a woman who has her own. Because at the end of the day, she doesn't need you just like you don't need her because you have your own. But you guys cultivate each other. Y'all make each other better. But it's not well, I can't leave him because I can't pay my rent by myself. You are wanted. You are not needed. She chose you. That is more powerful than a woman that needs you because she's only with you because you pay her car note. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have to decide what kind of man you are. I can't answer that for you. Only you can. But what I will say is men who are insecure prefer women who are needy, who are codependent, who can't do nothing for themselves, who are broke. Those are the type of women they like because they know that they can keep them in line and keep them in check because they need them. Whereas an alpha male likes women who are independent and can hold their own because they know that she has her thing going on just like he has his thing going on. And like I said, y'all cultivate each other. Y'all make each other better. Do you know what I'm saying? So women need men and men need women, but the needs are different. It's more or less about support and love versus I need you to pay this bill because I can't afford to pay it by myself. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. I hope that makes sense, babe. And let me know in the comments, what kind of woman do you prefer? Do you prefer a woman who can hold their own, or do you prefer a woman who is very codependent? I'm not saying either is right or wrong. I'm just telling you what type of male prefers those things. Now, the cons to a woman who is independent is she knows herself. And if you are a beta male trying to get with an independent woman, you're not going to be able to gaslight and manipulate her like you can do women who are codependent and who need stuff. So the con would be there's no games. You can't play any games with this type of woman like you can with codependent women. You can play all the games in the world because they need you, so they're going to go along with it. But a woman who does not need you but wants you, she's not with all that. So that could be a con for a beta male. But for an alpha male, that's not a con. You have a woman who's going to be able to pour into you and to support you and motivate you and inspire you. But for a beta male, you are with a codependent woman, you're not going to get, she's not going to be able to pour into you. She's not going to be able to provide and support and inspire and motivate because she can't do shit by herself. So you have to decide, where are you on the spectrum, or where do you want to be? If you're a beta male right now but you want to be alpha, watch some of my other videos because I talk about how to get you into being the best version of yourself. It's all about changing your mindset. We've had multiple videos about that. So we'll continue to talk about it so you can go from beta to alpha. And maybe the reason why none of your relationships have worked in the past is not because it's other women, but it's because of you. Babe, sometimes you have to realize that you are the problem. And maybe you are the problem because you're insecure. Maybe you are the problem because you are lacking in certain areas of your life and you need to get you in check. I don't think any man who is broke should be dating. I think if a man is broke, that is 1000% fixable. But I think you need to focus on you and getting your life in order before you bring a woman into your life. Right? I think dating should only be for people who have their ish together, man and woman. It should be a partnership, not a codependent ship. You know what I'm saying? All right, babe. I think that's a good amount of chit chat for this morning. Let me know down in the comments if I missed any questions that you think should be asked on the very first date. Are you ready for your 360 spin? All right, so I'm wearing green shorts here, gym shorts, and a pink sports bra. I'm going to wear this to the gym in a little while, actually. So I love my gym shorts. They're nice and cozy and comfortable. Keep everything in check. All right, babe. I hope you have an amazing Tuesday. Bye.